Yo, my people, them, how we doing today? We got a special guest on the show. Rants, what you saying, my guy?
Fam, I'm always good, fam. I'm always good, man. You know me.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Me and Rants been doing streams for a while now, obviously usually on his channel, but today I was like, let me bring him over here to my home. Do you know what I mean? We only just kickstarted this thing. It's good. It's all up and running. We're doing streams on a regular basis now. We've got a couple of videos going up. And obviously the Premier League is back. I know England are playing today, but in my opinion,
I'm doing a watch along still.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? England are starting to bore me. Do you know what I mean? They got knocked out of the Nations League.
They're out.
I think they are out. Yeah, that was the headline after they lost to Belgium. It was like they're out, and then Iceland is kind of a dead rubber. So for me personally, I'm just trying to see Chelsea's players shipped back home in FedEx packages and whatnot. I'm not trying to see this Iceland game because our man can get injured.
Wow, I didn't realize they were out like that. Southgate's on the. He's on the ropes. How are you out of a friendly league, blood? How can you be out?
Bro, literally, yeah. Because the thing is, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I don't really know too well how this Nations League thing works because for me, it's just it's like, you know, when they tried to start the Euro Vars, like they started these little Mickey Mouse Europa League after the Europa League competitions, like the bottom tier European competitions in club football. They try to stick it up for like mid-table European clubs to go and party abroad and basically just make more money out of the club football as a whole. Same with Nations League. Like it's meant to be like a build up to the Euros or whatnot, but I don't really know how it works. I just saw the headlines. England 2-0 defeat to Belgium, failed to qualify for Nations League. So
you know what the Nations League is? The Nations League was put in place to make national teams take these friendlies a bit more seriously. So it's still not a credible thing. But I think that if you win it, I think they're offering you something like a seeding thing. Or something
I think they're offering you like an automatic place or something. I don't know.
So you don't have to like qualify for the tournament or something. I think that's what it is. It's a seeding thing. It's just to make the qualifiers, the friendlies more palatable for people because really it's a money spinner, innit? That's all it is. And they don't want teams to just keep putting out weak teams. That's all it is. So
yeah, it's always been.
I think that's why they introduced it still. But bro, to be honest, yeah. I'm a fan of seeing some of these games, like, you know what I mean? Germany got pammed yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Like France, Sweden, there's some decent games, isn't it? Like every day there's a decent game. You know what I mean? There's at least one decent game. So it's mad. It'll be interesting to see what Southgate does here. Now they're already out, what kind of team he's going to play in it. And if he's still going to play 5 at the back.
Yeah, surely you're not going to turn up against Iceland 5 at the back, but anything can happen under Southgate. For me personally, I'm just trying to see Chelsea's players shipped home. Do you know what I mean? Because how many times have we said it now? International break. I think we've spoken about this on your channel. Just needless. Some of these injuries that you're getting, the cramps, players are not getting breaks. Do you know what I mean? I think they're looking at bringing back the 5 substitution rule in the Premier League because they feel like players are. You know what I mean? They're not rotating them enough in the game because they're just getting. How many muscle injuries are we seeing? How many cramps are we seeing? How many players are we seeing pull up, getting long-term injuries? Liverpool, half their defense is gone. Liverpool's defense is gone. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just like, when are we going to actually start thinking? Like you said, think of the fans, think of the players. Obviously, they're getting rid of the pay-per-view thing at the end of the month as well. There's so many things going on in football right now. Even though I don't usually mind watching my country play. You know, I'm not a fan of the 5 at the back, but for me right now, it just seems with the whole thing going on with the disease and everybody, you know what I mean? You might as well be licking bus stops if you're going to go and travel abroad before you start mixing with people.
Bro, you're not lying. Man, might as well be licking the bus stops. I'm telling you, bro. Hey, it's true, bro. You're not lying. And the thing is, I have no problem with the amount of games we're playing, but make some allowances for the players, innit? And the thing is, this is why, you see when people are talking about pay cuts for the players, this is why I don't like it. Because the players are always the last people that are thought about. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. Whether it's the money, whether it's the injuries, all of these men are just thinking about getting their TV money. None of them are thinking, actually, these players playing 4 games in 10 days, it might be a bit too much for them. So maybe we'll give them 5 substitutions, maybe a roll-on, roll-off thing, or give them a drinks break or something like that. These men are not thinking about these players. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing with the money. Everyone was like, yeah, footballers get paid too much. Let's take their money. Everything's all about, let's take it away from these men. But these are the men. They're just pawns in a game, bro, that they don't really have control over anything.
No, it's true. It's like any big company, you know, the employers are the ones that usually get treated the worst. The guys that do the most work, the guys that do the running, the hard yards, they're the ones that usually get treated like shit. You know what I mean?
Guys that sitting in the office, have the private jet and the helicopter. That's what happens. The private jet and the helicopter.
And obviously footballers make a lot of money, but I tell you who makes a lot more money, the people above them. Do you know what I mean?
The people that sign their checks.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get on to the Premier League because, like I said, you're gonna cover. So if you man want to see the England-Iceland game as well tonight, live stream on Rants Channel, subscribe. Link is already in the description. Gonna put the link in the chat as well soon. So man's not gonna cover any more England because you're gonna go to Rants for that later.
I'm live streaming on Twitch for that.
You're doing Twitch?
Yeah,
YouTube just got sent for.
they'll know where to find me on the Twitch anyway. You know what I mean? It's Rants and Bants official, bruv. You'll see me anyway. Man's gonna be on Twitch. Now, I mean, everyone smash the like while you're in here. Get the algorithms up. You lot already know what to do.
My guys. You know,
I'm going to be covering the England game because I just want to look at certain players because you know what it is with the Premier. Because football's turning into this system-based game. Yeah. A lot of players are hiding, bruv. A lot of players are hiding in their clubs. You know, they're hiding behind wavy foreign players. They're hiding behind wavy systems. But when you see them for England. Yeah, this is when you ain't got the makeup on, blood. You know what I'm saying? Man, when you're playing for England, bro, that's it. When you're playing for England, I can see what you're really about now. You know them ones.
Your personality. That's what we're looking for here. It's not all about looks. It's about personality, gentlemen, in the chat. You know what I mean?
Bro, what's your personality? As much as I love Sancho, and them man there, you ain't got Hakimi overlapping now. You know, you haven't got these other things, bro. Like, so now you ain't got this outrageously high line that you play against every week. Like, there's loads of things that you don't have now. So now I want to see what you can do. Same with Raheem. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got David Silva and flipping Aguero to bounce the ball off. So now I want to see what you're really on.
Sure, it's true.
You're really on, bro. Like, because man are saying you're world class because you bagged 30 goals in the Premier League, but I can't remember seeing you score for England in a minute. so I want to know what you're really on. Now there's bare man, now I want to know what they're really on. When you're in that white shirt, there's nowhere to hide, bro. There's no makeup, there's no formation really, there's no real system, there's no coaching, it's just vibes.
It's just vibes.
That is why Jack Grealish is standing out because he's doing his own thing. He dances to the beat of his own drum, bro. He can play in any system, and there's not a lot of English players now that I can say, bruv, they'll look wavy no matter where they go, bruv.
Yeah. I'm not saying man like Sancho and Sterling shouldn't go to big competitions, but England need to try and bring as many players that are not system-based as possible because it's very clear that Southgate is just vibes.
Of course. And I think Sancho's wavy. You know what I mean? He's one of my favorite English players. But certain men are saying, he's getting found out this season. I don't think he's getting found out this season. No, but when he plays for England, you don't expect to see Sancho Dortmund, bruv, because Dortmund are Dortmund. And also, like the style of play he's playing against suits the way he plays. He's very direct, he's very tricky. And if you leave space in behind him, he's gonna roast you, fam. Yeah. You know what I mean? When England played their last game, they were pretty much playing against a low block, bro. You know what I'm saying? And against a low block, a lot of these players are ineffective, bro. You know what I'm saying? Same with the Rashfords and these men are ineffective when there's not space in behind, innit? So it'll be very, very good to see tonight what a lot of these England men are doing, when they don't have other players or other systems to hide behind. Because Trent, I ain't been impressed with him in the England shirt. I think he's looked below mediocre, bro. I'm not gonna lie. If I'm judging him by the standards that people hold him to at his club, I think he's been trash.
No, it's true. He hasn't been anywhere near it, and that's for me why Reece James is undoubtedly clear as the right back. If you're going to go right back, because it's very clear that Reece James really is not system focused. You know what I mean? I've always been saying Reece James is the more complete player. You know what I mean? People will say that's premature because look at what Trent's done in the game. Trent's done certain things in a certain system. You know, even Mohamed Salah has done probably maybe more. He's won a title. He's won Champions League. But I'm not going to go and turn around and say that, you know what I mean, Hazard is not a more complete player because he just is. Do you know what I mean? Even with the drop off, if Hazard's playing at his best for Chelsea back in the day, he is a more complete player than Mo Salah. I think Southgate, what he's doing, Southgate's exposing his own players because he's forcing them to be more mature than maybe they have to be for their clubs if they're directed by a real manager. But
this is it, bro.
This brother can play reggae, drill one day, next minute he's playing pop. Do you know what I mean? He's got no plan. It's all over the place.
You know what killed me, what these stupid England managers keep doing, bro. I saw it happen with the golden generation. They're playing a 4-4-2, yeah? With Lampard and Gerrard in the middle. Lampard played in a 4-3-3 for his club for his whole career at Chelsea. Never got to play in that system for England. Steven Gerrard for Liverpool played on the right-hand side. When they won the Champions League, he got shifted out to right wing for Xabi Alonso and I think Didi Hamann, bro. He wasn't even playing in the centre. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like Paul Scholes, they moved him out to the left wing. England, instead of mirroring the formation that your best players play at your club and playing them in their best positions, they're playing 3-5-2. How many of these men actually play that formation for their club?
It don't make no sense, but like, Southgate is on his own thing. And for me, did Southgate even play 3-5-2 in his own career?
Bro,
it's a strange one. Do you know what I mean? He played for Middlesbrough and Aston Villa. I don't remember them particularly playing some Italian formation and trying to be. It's very confusing to me. I don't even think England. I mean, England have got a lot of fullbacks. That's about it. They don't have enough centre backs. For me, trying to even play three when you barely got two good ones don't really make sense. I said that from the get go.
Bro, it's a joke. I think he's just trying to. I think that he's looking at it. Yeah, he thinks he has to play Kyle Walker right centre back. Cool, because he's got the recovery pace and all that. But honestly, England don't have three good centre backs. That's why we're playing a right centre back. We're playing a right back as centre back. Bruv, just get rid of one of the centre backs and play four at the back and stop being a punk, bro. Like that's all he needs to do. I'm just not even gonna lie, bro. Like this three at the back don't suit no one. Like nobody plays, yeah. Nobody plays five at the back in the top out of the top clubs.
Usually England, if they're smart, they play what the most successful system is in the country at that time, or wherever the most English players are located, what they're all mostly playing, and bring that to England because at least they're familiar and it just speeds up the process. But Southgate is on something different. But anyway, enough about Southgate because man don't really. I could par this guy.
It's true. Like Trent don't play in a five at Liverpool. Reece James probably has played in a five for Chelsea.
But not often. By
exactly.
the way. And when he does play wing back, he doesn't look as good as he does at right back.
Ain't playing in a five at Man City. Do you know what I'm saying? Harry Maguire likes the five because he's played in it before for England and it protects his deficiencies because he's whack. Tyrone Mings plays in a four anyway. Do you know what I mean? You go through all the players. Saka can play left wing back and he's looked better at left wing back than Trent has looked at right wing back. Do you see what I'm saying? So when you look at all these players, double pivot in that formation, Mount can play in the two because he's got three men behind him. So Mount can play in a double pivot there. Do you know what I'm saying? He doesn't have to play in the 8 because he's got energy. He can get stuck in and he can pass in it, so he can play there. You know what I mean? Declan can play there as well, but he'll probably be better in a 4-3-3. Do you know what I'm saying? Sterling and them man there, bro. Like there's no 10 in that formation. There's no 10. We sacrificed the number 10. And we've got Jack Grealish, who is literally a throwback number 10 from the 90s, bro. They need to play a 4-3-3 if it means that he can play in his best
for me, it's very similar to Kai Havertz at Chelsea. You've got Havertz and Mount playing in a 3 at the moment. You got Kante holding, but you know Kai is going to be the more advanced out of him and Mount. Mount is the industrious 3 who will do the box to box, who will do the nitty gritty. He'll make the switches of play, continue to pass it along and shift it to the forwards. Maybe more individually gifted players that will go and take a man on and the wingers and whatnot. And Kai is the one that will be a bit more advanced. So there's always not an imbalance, but there's always a little of understanding between the 3 who's actually going to do the more attacking out of the 2 of them. Who is the first one in line to come back and deal with the defense, even though it is the both of them. Who is the actual first guy to go and do it? And it's always been like that. You look at the partnerships of even Lampard and Essien. Do you know what I mean? Essien was always maybe the more, he's the real box to box. Athletically, he's the one that's going to do all the running. And obviously Lampard's going to get back and he's going to get into shape. But Lampard was more of a he was more composed with it. Like he wasn't really a run around guy. Like he would get stuck in and whatnot. But if you look at Lampard play, his awareness and his pointing people into position, pointing people off the ball, the amount of times he used to swivel his head before he got the ball. I watched Lampard.
Lampard was an intelligent player. He was
very intelligent.
He was like a Carrick in the sense that like they intercepted a lot, but they weren't physical players. They weren't really tacklers, bruv. They just knew where to be, bro. They would read a situation and put themselves in the right place. But Lampard had the freedom that when you've got Essien and Makelele behind you, you don't have to be busting your ass to get back. You know what I mean? You can kind of just play intelligently in between the lines, like what he did.
It's very similar to Grealish because he's a very intelligent player as well. And Grealish, make no mistake, people love to throw this thing with Kai Havertz. They do it with Grealish as well. These men don't work hard. They do actually work quite hard if you watch them. Grealish does work very hard. I think they conserve their energy quite well as well. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes it doesn't look like they're working hard, but they also don't want to be out of breath when it's time to create, because Grealish knows, at Aston Villa in particular, and for England, which is hilarious, he is the main and only creative force. Do you know what I mean?
But that's why this formation suits Grealish.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah, but he is the only creative force. So when he gets the ball, things must happen. So there's no point, running your heart out, and then when you get the ball, you don't have the clarity of mind to make the pass you need to, because you're about to pass out from dizziness because you've been doing laps. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make no sense. Chelsea and Man United, as we were speaking about them, the fall of two great clubs. That's what the title's saying. We just spoke about Lampard and Carrick. Obviously, the midfields, particularly for you, man, because you spent a lot in midfield. We'll get into our midfield in a second. But just to speak on yours, Man United are probably like maybe how Chelsea were last season, a little bit imbalanced in midfield. What are you saying with your midfield now? Because Pogba is your most expensive marquee guy. For me, one of the best. And we keep saying maybe more what ifs than what's with Pogba, because is he actually performing to the level he's capable of? What is that down to? Is it down to Oli? Is it down to, because for France and Kante, he's looking unbelievable. And I say this a lot. He looks unbelievable for France.
People were trying to criticize Pogba, bro. When I saw his output yesterday, it was a madness. Absolute madness. And that's him playing deep. I saw the average positions. Yeah, he was almost playing like a third centre back at times. But his output was unbelievable, even from there. Do you know what I mean? And I was thinking, like this kid is really getting burdened. His own ability has hampered his career.
Yeah. For me, it was the wrong decision to move to Man United anyway from Juventus. Juventus were surrounding him with Pirlo, surrounding him with, so many, like, he had the freedom, very much like Zidane, he had the freedom to go and do his thing in the 10. Like he had to get back. He had Vidal. He had players that, and this is what I keep saying about when you bring in these 10s. Pogba for me is a 10. He's very creative, great from shooting outside the box.
He's a 10 in...
For me, he should be your 10. He should be your 10.
He's a 10 in the sense that he should have the freedom to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? His starting position isn't of a 10 because Pogba would drop a lot deeper. But he should have the freedom of a 10.
Yeah. So for me, you play him in the 10, and then if he wants to come deep, he can come deep. But if you play him deep to start with and don't allow him to go forward, then you have a problem. So what
you lose something.
Your midfield, you obviously got Van der Beek, who can't really consistently get games as well. What is the deal with your midfield right now? Because obviously you've got I think West Brom at home this weekend, isn't it? And it's for me, it's squeaky bum time. Like, what's going on? Are you, man, going to start picking up these points? Are you going to sack Oli? What's happening with the midfield? What talk to me. What are you saying with this midfield? What do you think?
I still think it's a Poch by Christmas thing. I do, innit? Like, until Christmas comes and Pochettino's not there, I'm going to keep talking it into existence, bro. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a Poch by Christmas thing. The midfield balance, I think, again, like, we needed like an Ndidi type player. We needed that. And instead we brought in Donny van der Beek, who I like a lot, but that kind of player wasn't necessarily what our midfield was crying out for. Do you know what I mean? We needed a long-term replacement for Nemanja Matic. And I was screaming that. I said, I would give up. I said in the summer, I'd give up a Jadon Sancho signing on the right wing for a centre-back and a DM. Yeah. Because for me, Mason can do a job out there. The other people can do a job. If you've got a cohesive system, man can just do jobs there. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But centre-back and DM, man can't do jobs there. like you need specialists there. Do you know what I mean? You don't need a specialist on the right side of midfield. Yeah. Like, you do not need it.
If the system's there. If the system's there. Which for me, Oli, you don't know if he's got the system. Because for me, we speak about this at Chelsea all the time, and I want to get your thoughts on our 11. We speak about the glitz and glamour over Kai. We speak about the glitz and glamour over Timo. But I always say, Timo's been great. Kai has been okay, but for me, he's gonna come to promise. But if you swap Kai out for Barkley, and it's a system, hear me out, it's a very systematic team, then Barkley can do a job. Hopefully, hope he can. If you take Timo out and you bring in a Hudson-Odoi can do a job. But if you look at the difference Thiago Silva has made, Mendy has made, Chilwell has made to this defense, it is like, You can't do jobs there because individual errors in defense cost you. And the thing is, Chelsea fans, I mean, myself included, we were getting onto Lampard a little bit earlier in the season, drawing to West Brom 3-3, drawing to Southampton 3-3. And he's telling us, yo, individual mistakes are costing us. And I'm looking at him like, all right, cool, but you're the manager, so you got to take some responsibility, you know, because obviously you're the guy who sees these players week in, week out. Why are you playing Alonso at left back when you know he's a wing back? Why are you allowing these dead centre back partnerships to continue? Why are you playing Kepa over Caballero? Why not even just stick Czech in there? Man saying Czech has been training very well, but you're playing Kepa against Southampton shipping free. Like, it's for me, it's like, you know what, you've seen this already. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you get the wrong score on the maths paper and then you get to see the answers and then you get to take it again. And then you still get the same answers wrong. It doesn't make any sense. However, maybe although for me, all those things still stand, but individual errors will cost you because now you bring in a Chilwell, you bring in Thiago Silva, who's made massive differences to this defense. You bring in a Mendy, the individual errors are gone. Suddenly Chelsea are keeping clean sheets. Do you know what I mean? And for me, it's not because Lampard's become a defensive mastermind overnight, Jose Mourinho, Conte-esque. It's because you just give him a defense you know how to defend. And that's half the job done. Do you know what I mean? You add a little icing on the cake with Anthony Barry, and suddenly you're looking like a title-winning defense. I want to go to our main 11. This question here, I'm going to start taking questions from the chat. Thank you so much, guys, for the questions. What are your views once Chelsea finally get our main starting 11 up? Just quickly, before I get Rance's view on that, I must say to Chelsea fans, starting 11 and the main starting 11, you'll be lucky to see the light of day because we just get injuries. Do you know what I mean? You got to just accept it now. Pulisic is injured. We always get so praying and asking Santi for the main starting 11. Always, it's just, and that's why I can never run with Lampard. Can only be judged when we get the main starting 11. A manager must always be judged on managing situations. That is what a manager's job is. So you can't always be like, when is our main starting? Because to be honest, when is it ever going to come? Do you know what I mean? When are we never not going to have injuries? It's very rare. Rants, what do you think of Chelsea? Because Chelsea fans have been talking a lot about Premier League title winning. For me, I've been saying just hold your horses. Let's see up until Christmas. Do you think Chelsea have the potential to win the league with this team?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Really?
Yeah, bro. Of course, bro. When I look at it, you got Timo. It's Timo, bro. You know what I mean? You got Kai Havertz. When I look at the players you have, you got Kante, you got Kovacic, you've got Thiago Silva, you've got names, you got Chilwell, you got Reece James. Bro, when you just look at your starting 11, the strongest starting 11 you could put out is as good as any starting 11 in the Premier League, bro. Like it is, player for player. So why can't you? Do you know what I'm saying? It's just all about how they're gonna gel and cohesion and that. But player for player, it's up there, bro.
And especially with Liverpool's injuries as well in the back line, that
with Liverpool's injuries, if I'm a Chelsea player, I'm looking at Liverpool and saying, yo, if these men slip because of what Man City are doing, you know what? We could just nick this, you know? While everyone's talking about Man City, you know what I'm saying? While everyone's talking about other teams, everyone was talking about Everton at the start of the season, and then they're starting to slowly fall out of it. Do you know what I'm saying? While everyone's talking about everyone else, we can just keep doing our own thing, handling our own business, and then, yo, before you know it, Chelsea are top of the league. Do you know what I'm saying? 3 games to go. Like, you just never know, fam. Just handle your own.
Yeah, handle your own business. I think as well, the thing is with Liverpool is they've been playing a high-intensity system for years on years. What is it? Really ever since they got to the Europa League final under Klopp, and they lost that. But they was starting to show serious signs of being a top team. That Sevilla game in the semi-final, I believe, or whoever it was against. I think, no, maybe Dortmund. Do you know what I mean? They were showing signs that they lost to Sevilla in the final, wasn't it? And Alberto Moreno cost them and whatnot. I think Karius was on the madness as well. But they beat Dortmund in the semis. That's when, for me, Liverpool started to look like a top team. Then they got to the Champions League final. I think they lost to Real Madrid. But then the following season, they got to win it. And then Premier League. So it's been about 4 years of Liverpool really knocking at the door of not being like Paul Konchesky's Liverpool, like proper Liverpool. Yeah. But they've been playing a high-intensity pressing system with a manager who runs them into the ground, pans them like this, slaps them up. And then
he doesn't make many changes. If you look at
exactly. Bro,
when you look at Klopp, they brought in, bro, not even that, because they brought in Shaqiri. Can't tell you the last time I've seen that you. Origi, can't remember the last time I seen that you. You know them, man. All these guys, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? They don't use many players.
Yeah.
And when he makes substitutions, he makes the same substitution.
Yeah.
Like you see about 14 man for Liverpool. Literally, the 3 subs are the same.
Yeah.
And the 11's the same. All the time.
And then for me,
does work with a 15-man squad.
Yeah. And then for me, I looked through their ages last season, right? And I'm looking at Van Dijk, and I'm looking at Salah, Firmino, Mane. All the man, Henderson,
Late
Milner,
20s.
All late 20s. I'm like, they've never really got any injuries. When is this team gonna crumble? And I think I said this a few times, maybe on Cheeky Sport as well. I said, for me, Liverpool, this is why I made Man City favourites. And I did say this before the season started. But I did have Liverpool top 2. Maybe that's even stretched because Liverpool might not even finish top 2 in this no defence thing.
Yeah.
I said to myself, they have to get injuries this season. You don't wish injuries upon no one. Do you know what I mean?
It's the age thing, though. You're
just
right.
Logically, you're like, yo, when are surely these men are going to crumble because they've never had injuries. And Lord and behold, you throw a couple extra factors in, obviously the disease and whatnot, back-to-back games, and they're crumbling, man. They've got no defense. Do you know what I mean? They're having to wrap Matip in cotton wool. So for me, even if Man, and this is where it must be frustrating as a Man United fan, if you had been about your business in the summer, we spoke about this on your channel so much, got on a Sancho, got on a Grealish, got on a DM, got on a centre-back, wasn't working with Maguire and friends. You could be in the title because the reason why I've mentioned this and the reason why I've called this the project of the 2 clubs, Chelsea and United, because Chelsea and Man United are on the same thing. We're on the same thing. We're on the same project. Bring in young. We've obviously maybe the homegrown players are coming through. You got Greenwood coming through, Rashford coming through. Some of this, Rashford has maybe been a lot longer than some of our ones, but you've been on this team.
That brother's got over 100 starts or something.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? But we're on the same project, bringing young players, trying to establish a culture and elevate. But the only difference is,
it's the people who are signing these players at United. At least we know who's doing what. Because my thing is, the reason why I hate Oli, and I hate all these other guys, I hate Mourinho and all these other guys, it's like they're saying, oh, well, I didn't get the players I wanted and stuff like that. Bro, the players you wanted were expensive. You know what club you're at. Do you know what I mean? There's no way Man United said to Jose, we're going to give you free to spend every season. They didn't. So stop complaining when man's giving you a 90 million Paul Pogba in your first season, a 30 million Eric Bailly, a Zlatan Ibrahimovic's wages, which was the club. Yeah. And who else? And a Henrik Mkhitaryan, I think that costs around 40 M's as well. Your first window, you got like 200 mil to spend. And then you're talking shit. I'm not trying to hear none of that, bro. Same with Oli. Oli wanted Grealish. Oli wanted Sancho. Well, you think these men were going to be cheap? Do you know what I mean? Why are you man always going for the obvious buys? Why is it that Wolves can put together a whole starting 11 for the price of one player at our club? But then you man are complaining that you're not getting backed. If you were going to Ed Woodward with £15 million players, he would have signed all of them for you. Because I remember when LVG was the manager, LVG signed a bagger, man. And I think none of them cost over 40 mil, bro. Yeah. The Luke Shaw thing was already signed off by David Moyes. He was coming in anyway. And the Herrera, all the Rojos and all them, man. The reason why we got so many players is because they were all reasonably priced because he picked players for a system. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He picked players for a system, bro. And he won an FA Cup with those players. Like, you got players like Dennis Zakaria and stuff like that. Man's I think he's at Mönchengladbach now. And it's just like, bro, man's 23. Man want to hold in midfielder. Go get him. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Go get him. You don't need to go and get Ndidi, who's already in the Prem. That's going to cost you bare money. 100%. You know what I mean? You don't have to go and get Ruben Neves now, because when you could, when you could have got him before, that man got him for 15 million and you man weren't interested. Now all of a sudden he's at Wolves now, and now you want him. Now he's going to cost 60. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? These men are dickheads, bro. Now I'm tired of it. Richarlison was at Watford. Nobody picked him up. Now he's at Everton. One of the big clubs should have snapped him up. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? These men, their scouting networks are so poor. It's like, just because you're a big club, that doesn't. You should still scout like a small club because that's where they find the gems. Yeah. How come stuff out Vardy, blood? Why didn't the Premier League find Vardy, bro? Yeah. And also, when you look at it as well, it's like, and this is something I was getting onto Chelsea about previously. This window is really, we've spent a lot of money, but like you said, we've spent it wisely. And I think our whole defense, our whole back five, our strongest back five, cost only maybe 5 or 6 million more than the whole Kepa deal. Do you know what I mean? Because Silva, that's for me, that is like,
That is the difference between coming third and challenging for the title. A Thiago Silva signing for free. Mendy, 22 million, 20 million. Looks great. Looks unbelievable. And that, again, that's down to the scouting of Petr Cech. That's down to the actual due diligence of the scouting team going and saying, listen, we need a goalkeeper. We're not just going to go and spend all the money on Oblak. We're not just going to go and buy what's already at the top premium price. We're actually going to go and find a goalkeeper who we've been looking at. And you have to watch these players consistently, really do your homework. For me, the club didn't do their homework on Kepa. For me, I don't want to dumb it down to basics, but when a goalkeeper isn't even collecting crosses confidently, why are you bringing them to the Prem? It doesn't make any sense. For me, you set a man like that up to fail. Same with Pickford. Do you know what I mean? Pickford's not the tallest. For me, sometimes it just has to come down to the bare basics when you're scouting a goalkeeper. Is he tall? Can he collect crosses?
Is important for goalkeepers, bro.
Leadership.
You're covering a goal, bro. There's a reason why we used to put the fat kid in goal at school, bro.
Jesus.
Because they cover the most flipping space, bro. Like literally, why you putting a little you in goal, bro? It doesn't make sense, bro. And even then, if your calculations are slightly off, you're getting packed just because you're not big enough.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah, you don't have. It's like having recovery pace, isn't it? If you've got the reach, if you've got the reach as a goalkeeper, use that as your recovery pace. If you mess up, you have the split second to suddenly go and change the outcome of the moment that you've messed up. You have the split second to react to maybe your feet being in the wrong position. If you're short, do you know what I mean? You have no recovery. That's it. It's a wrap for you. And I feel like Chelsea have learned from that deal. They've learned from Bakayoko. They've learned from Drinkwater. They've learned from all of these dead signings that we're now trying to still offload. That's how poor the signings were, that you can't even get rid of them. You having to loan them out, get loan fees, then come back and try and get them out again the next summer, then loan them out. Do you know what I mean? That's the price that we're paying to try and get out some of our bad signings. So they hopefully have learned from that. This question, what does Chelsea need to do to be able to win the title? Just work on team chemistry and tactics, or do they need a couple more signings? For me, I'm not pessimistic. I like to be optimistic. I don't follow football, I don't follow Chelsea to be pessimistic. Do you know what I mean? It's football at the end of the day. I want to be optimistic. I want to be happy with the team. For me, Chelsea, if I'm just looking at us and I'm isolating us as a team and what do I think we need as a title winning team, not looking at the rest of the league, I think the only area where I'm very worried, because Petr Cech, I'm just going to assume Petr Cech is just a good goalkeeper. I don't really know what we're going to get if he is the backup, but I'm just going to assume he's just a good goalkeeper still, and he can still do a job. Like Rants said earlier, get man in that can do a job. I'm going to assume Petr Cech can do a job. So taking that goalkeeper situation out of it, for me, and obviously you've got Azpilicueta that can cover left back, so that covers that Chilwell issue. DM is the only issue, because I have been saying for the longest, I want Frank Lampard to stay consistently with one formation. And I'm a very flexible guy. So I don't care. I would prefer us to play attacking football. I would prefer us to play well. But if you want to play counter-attacking football, but you're good at it and you can get results and you can win titles, cool, I'll adapt. If you want to play three at the back like Kante, it's not my favorite formation, but if you're winning games, cool, I'll adapt. Yeah. Frank Lampard played his whole career, or like 80% of his career, in a 4-3-3. So please play the 4-3-3. You're an inexperienced manager. Play the 4-3-3 that you played in. Do you know what I mean? It's just make it easier for yourself. And now he's playing it. So I want to see that 4-3-3 for the rest of the season, bar the odd game where you got to do a tactical madness and you got to switch formation just because you're not going to be stubborn. You are going to switch to your opponent. You got to switch to a three at the back or whatever you got to do against maybe a Wolves or whatnot. You got to match up. Cool. On the off chance, you got to do that. But most of the time, 4-3-3. Not only for the chemistry of the players, so the fullbacks and the wingers can establish something. So the centre-back, don't change the centre-back pairing too much again. Keep them established. We've been playing the same back five, including Mendy, for quite a string of games now. No surprise the defence looks good because we ain't chopping and changing every 5 minutes. Yep. But what could harm that, right? What could harm a 4-3-3? What could change the formation? DM. We only have Kante. And for me, I'm still customizing to Kante at DM. And a lot of Chelsea fans will get onto me and say, listen, Matisse, and I want to get your thoughts on this as well, Rants, because you've seen Kante for a lot of his career as well, for a long time. He's been at Leicester playing in a double. He's been at Chelsea playing in a double with Matic under Conte. He's been playing a double. He's been playing in a free, under Sarri, playing as the RCM advanced with Jorginho sitting, and he got a little bit more license to do box to box. Now he's playing lone DM, and it's a new position for Kante. A couple of years ago, if you said Kante's playing DM, you would have been hung out to dry. They would have hung you up on the ceiling. You know what I mean? It would have tied you up. But now he's playing well because not all Chelsea fans are there yet. Because, you know what I mean? We're a very reactionary fan base. It's not been a full season of Kante playing DM, lads. You have to remember that. It's been only, end of lockdown and then start of the season. So not all fans should just be on the Kante lone DM hype yet, because you still have to see the test of time. You still need to come up against all opposition, top opposition. How does he do against Bayern Munich? How does he do against this team? How does he do against that team? How does he do when we have the ball, when we don't have the ball? Do you know what I mean? Yes, we play him very well. And Kante, for me, has been one of the best players so far this season after that little blip where he was giving away possession a bit. Now he's really back on his thing. Playing great for France, scored the other day. In this winning run, Chelsea are playing unbelievably well. But for me, to be saying that all Chelsea fans need to be 100% convinced on Kante lone DM right now and not just see the test of time like I'm doing, when a couple years ago, if you told, not even a couple, last year, do you know what I mean? The start of last year, if I told this chat Kante is a lone DM, he's the next Makalele, these man would have tied me up. They would have tied me up and taken me home. Do you know what I mean? It would have been a wrap. Get off the channel. So for me, that position there, while Kante is the best lone DM we have in the squad, because you wouldn't put Jorginho there with the attacking eights because he's just not mobile enough. You wouldn't put Kovacic there because he has no intention to just sit in a position. He always wants to move. So whilst Kante for me is not perfect just yet, he's the best one in the squad. But we don't have anybody else after that because we loaned Ampadu to Sheffield United. So for me, you have to get a lone DM in January. That's the only thing. You get a lone DM in January, then you can talk about titles, because for me, just isolating Chelsea alone, there's still that one little grey area. But as Rance said, with Liverpool acting up, anything can happen. I mean, what do you think Chelsea need? Do Chelsea need anything more? Who would you make favourites for the title right now? Man City?
Yeah, well, I predicted City for the title before the start of the season, so I have to stick with them. You know what I mean? I have to stick with them. But if they don't buck their ideas up, I think Chelsea could quietly just do a job. Do you know what I mean? Because this Chelsea team are looking harder to beat now. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. I think the difference between Chelsea and City right now is City look easier to beat, bro. You know what I mean? It sounds very obvious, but City on any given Sunday, can just capitulate, bro. You know what I mean? You know one thing City don't do well? They don't not play well and still get the points. You know them ones, and that's the difference. Liverpool been playing shit and picking up points for ages. Man City, I find when they don't play well, they tend to drop points, bro. You know what I mean? And that's why I think as it stands, I think Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool will be the top three. In what order depends on injuries and consistency. Like we still need to see a bit of consistency from Chelsea. We have recently, but it's only been a few games.
Yeah. And I think the chat are responding obviously to what we've said as well. Billy Gilmour's being suggested. Reece James has been suggested. Personally, and I don't know what your thoughts on this, Rants, but when it comes to a young player, if they've excelled in one position, I would personally keep them to that position and let them reach the pinnacle, like a Kimmich, like a Philip Lahm, and let them later on in their career, if they want to move. You know, Scholes at Man United, young player flourishing. He was playing as a second striker. People don't really know this. He was scoring goals. It's only later on in his career that he started to move back. For me, when you get a young player that's so high potential like a Reece, just leave them at right back. Don't sacrifice them. And I said the same thing with Mason Mount. Don't sacrifice their thing because your squad's not ready. Don't sacrifice them because you got to move them to hold in midfield because your squad's not on point.
All right.
Yeah, because exactly. If it doesn't go right, now you've got them in a grey space where they're all over the place. And for me, the same with Mason Mount last season. I felt like he was shoehorned into different positions because he's Mason Mount and he can do a job. Because Willian's dead, because Pedro's dead, because all these players are not performing, cool, we're going to move Mason out there and jeopardize his own game. But for me, in his first season, I just want to see him do Mason Mount things. I just want to see him in his natural position, in the 8. Because now you've got this perception where Mason Mount's a dead baller, where really, he's actually very promising. You don't come through the whole Chelsea academy.
All over the place, though.
He's all over the place, though. You don't come through the whole Chelsea academy. Probably undisputedly the most talented academy in England, winning FA Youth Cups back to back. You have to go through all of the trials and tribulations, all the age groups. You keep getting judged. Are you the guy? You don't go through all of that to get to the Chelsea first team. Do a loan at Vitesse. Do a loan at Derby. and then come to Chelsea to be called dead, to be called a dead baller. It doesn't run like that. He's clearly not a dead baller. The issue is that because he's played every position in the name of God, we don't know. Suddenly people forgot what Mason Mount's traits are. And he told you he's an 8. He told you. I said this. But because I don't like him playing on the wing over a natural wing over Hudson-Odoi, people will tell you don't like Mason. People say you got a personal thing against Mason.
Yeah,
Ain't nobody got a personal thing against Mason.
It's mad negative, isn't it? When you play a player like this, that's what you make your intentions very clear. You know, like when Southgate started in right mid last game, I was like, bruv, you've made your intentions very clear. You know them. When you're sacrificing a Sancho or a Sterling for a Mason Mount, what you're doing is you're basically letting the opposition know that we ain't coming to attack today.
Yeah.
You know them, and that's what it is, bro.
Yeah, it's negative. And for me, Southgate and Lampard in the past are I've said this before, they're setting Mason up to be dragged. Not saying it's right. Of course it's not right. These guys that really should be the managers that are getting it. They should be getting the brunt of it. And even myself at times, I've had to step back and be like, why am I getting mad at Mason? Mason didn't pick himself. Mason didn't say he's playing right wing today. It's Lampard. I should be on to Lampard about it. So then as time gone on, I'm like, cool, I'm going to start getting onto Lampard about it. But I know these managers know where this guy should be playing, because when he plays in the 8, he just looks completely different. And now in this 4-3-3, you're seeing Mason drop deep. You're seeing him help out Kante. You're seeing him get in between the first phase of play and the second phase, where he takes in the ball, he switches it to Reece. His job is very simple. I think there was even a quote on this where Lampard was like, yo, just fucking switch the play. Just switch the play to Reece. Don't try and do all this extra stuff. Just switch the play to Reece. That's all we want to see you do. Do you know what I mean? And he's getting it out. He's smashing it out there to the wide positions. Then we're getting out to Reece. We're getting out to Ziyech, who's then in turn, now they're starting to whip in crosses. And now Chelsea actually have some sort of plan going. Aren't you concerned if Kante gets injured? So people have been bringing up Billy Gilmour. I want to get Rance's thoughts on Billy, because Billy is someone with very low amounts of playing time, but lots of, like, for me personally, lots of potential. It's very rare that I see someone with like so little. Even Hudson-Odoi, he got a lot of playing time at the back end of Sarri's season, Europa League. Do you know what I mean? He played quite a bit before the injury, so you had a little bit more to go off. Billy Gilmour's really, he's had like a couple starts, got 2 man of the match performances against Everton and Liverpool, and that's really, you know, that's what we're really like. We're looking at and we're saying this is the pinnacle of Billy Gilmour right here. Got obviously glowing reviews from Roy Keane, your guy. When you get glowing reviews from Roy Keane, you know it's a madness. But they're saying basically Billy Gilmour for loan DM if Kante gets injured as well. That's kind of the answer to this question. I agree. The only thing I'll say with Billy is that Chelsea too often have rushed players back from injury, right? And it's just caused them to just keep recurring injuries after injury. So I don't know personally when Billy's going to be back to his best. Young players suffered, and we've seen this before. Young players who get a big injury and then they try and come back, so they're not looking the same. So I'm not saying Billy's not going to be the same guy, but you can't just expect him to come back after injury and bounce straight into this team. So we don't know how long it's going to take for him to recover. So that's why, although that is the perfect solution for me, a very mobile, technical player who can play in the holding midfield role and get about, I don't know how long it's going to take for him to get back.
I don't think you should rush young players back, bro. Like it never helps them in the long term. Never does. And I think the pressure of starting for Chelsea in that position, also with the amount of hype that he's received, because he's someone, I haven't seen that much of him. He looks like a talented player, but you lot do love hyping your players, bro.
We do.
You know
we do.
I mean? Love hyping them. You know them ones. Because the thing is, even with Callum, I've been hearing about Callum for probably like the last 4 or 5 years, probably. Bare gas, seeing bare little Instagram things, bare little YouTube things. And this guy was looking like CR7 blood in your youth team. You know what I'm saying? He was looking all CR7, the fancy footwork, goals, all of these other things, brother. And you lot love a hype train. So I would hate for him to be rushed back from injury. He's not 100% right. He starts playing, starts having a few games that aren't good, and then his confidence drops. Because with young kids, that could happen. You know what I mean? Confidence is very important with these young players. And I think that's what happened to Callum as well, bro. I feel like
he's definitely a confidence player, 100%.
His confidence dipped a bit. Yeah. That's all it was, because to play the way he plays, you either need to have bags of confidence or you need to be outrageously arrogant that no matter what happens, you just don't care, innit? If you're a confidence player and you're playing and you're trying to take players on and do all these other things, bro, as soon as your confidence dies, so does that. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. And I would hate to see that happen to a young player because he's been rushed back and
100%.
the whole weight of a title challenge, like what a lot of these fans are now saying, are put on his shoulders.
And this is
Before
the thing.
that, you put fucking Jorginho there and Kovacic there, and if it doesn't work, then they need to deal with it. They're big men.
Exactly, 100%. And I've always said, I always judge the more experienced players in the team harsher. So when Kante, for me personally, many Chelsea fans will disagree because his interceptions and his tackling stats were still high, but for me, he's being dispossessed or he's giving the ball away too often. I judge Kante on world-class stat because he's world-class, right? So if he's not looking himself, I'm like, yo, maybe what's going on here? Does he need to take a breather? Does he need to come out? Because I judge Kante to the pinnacle. He's one of the world's best. Just like I would judge Paul Pogba to the pinnacle. I would judge the more experienced players to the pinnacle. But when it comes to Gilmour, and it comes to Hudson-Odoi, and it comes to all these players, I lessen it a bit because they're very young. And it's like, same with Gilmour. When he came back, when he played against Leicester, and he played okay last season. He played great. He was playing a little bit more advanced in the 8. Didn't have the greatest game. People got onto him very quickly. And I was like, yo, just chill, because he's Gilmour. He's a baby. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to baby these men up too much, but like at the same time, he's not got too much experience in the Chelsea first team playing as an 8. Yes, he has a youth team, but you can't just expect him to snap his fingers. Senior football is completely different. Reece James, he had a little tough spell after lockdown as well. Fans are getting onto him, Rants, like you've never seen. You see all this hype you're getting for Reece James right now. Go back step into post lockdown when Reece James was going through a tough patch, and we just sold Carl Lamptey. People were on to Reece like it was nothing. People talking about Reece James like as if he's a bum, like he's got no potential, like he's going nowhere. And Lamptey's doing great things at Brighton. The thing I keep saying with these young players at Chelsea, I will apply this to all players, but Chelsea players in particular for my team is got to give them time, man. Got to give them time. Do you know what I mean? There's so many different things going on in a young man's career. Injury, this, injury, that. You've seen it with Greenwood. Man in the press are coming after him. Rashford as well. Daily Mail coming after him because what? Because he wanted to buy his family a house. This is all. What do you make of that, man? Because I'm not gonna lie, I've seen this before with Sterling, innit, versus Foden. But this is ridiculous because you know why it's madder this time? This brother has gone beyond. He's gone above and beyond to help this country more than his own politicians, more than his own politicians to feed children. You know, it's not one of them things where it's like it's not Democrats versus Republicans in America. It's not up for debate. All children should eat food. It's not a debate thing. Do you know what I mean? It's not something where it's like, maybe you don't agree with his policy and his ideology, so we're gonna get onto him. He's trying to feed people. What are you talking about? And then he goes from doing all of that, right, securing the thing with Boris, to what? And he wants to buy his family some houses, and he doesn't want to. He wants to actually spend his money wisely, and try and set himself up for life and set up generations after him and his family. And they're getting onto him.
But if he was spending that money on private jets, to go fly Dubai and that, and having sex parties,
it still wouldn't be none of our business. But
it still wouldn't be any of our business. Do you see where I'm going with this? No matter what his P's on, it's no one's business. But this is why I say I live my life a certain way. I do not care what anyone thinks of me, because ultimately, no matter what you do, there's always going to be some idiot that has something to say, and someone's going to try and make a story out of your life, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Not everyone's going to like you. Imagine there was actually outrage of a young kid spending his own money on good business investments. Imagine that. Imagine that. Do you know what I mean? So imagine if he was actually doing something negative. They managed to spin a positive into a negative.
Yo, Grealish can crash cars and no one don't care. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's going on? You ain't heard a word about it, by the way. You ain't heard a word. I'm telling you, something different. To respond to this comment, do you know what? I'll pitch this to Rants because we've already got Silva in it, so we don't need a Silva and then we go and buy a Ramos. For me, Chelsea have got Silva for one thing and one thing only: to stabilize the defense now, and to teach Zuma how to lead a defense. I said it last season, and this is why I never knuckled down on the whole who's the best centre-back debate. Because for me to be the best centre-back at your club, you've got to be the leader. You've got to be the Marshall. You've got to be the Van Dijk. You've got to be the Silva. If you can't marshal the guy next to you, then for me, you're not head and shoulders the best, because that means you can only manage your own game. You've only got your own thing patterned. Do you know what I mean? And when it comes to Zuma, last season, everyone was screaming best centre-back out of the 4, and he probably was, but he couldn't lead. He couldn't marshal. He couldn't control the situations. You got Tomori next to you. You got Christensen next to you. You got Rudiger next to you. You can't make them. You can't turn water into wine. Do you know what I mean? You can't turn water into wine. John Terry could. Do you know what I mean? He turned Ben Haim into wine. This brother was water when he got it from Bolton. He turned him into wine. So for me,
this is what the top players do. Bro.
Exactly.
Anyone next to a top player and they look better by default.
Exactly. And that's, for me, that's what Silva's done to Zuma. He's made him into a top centre-back next to him. And when Silva's gone, I want Zuma to be able to do that with whoever he's rocking next to. I don't care if it's Tomori. I don't care if it's Ampadu. I don't care if it's Declan Rice. I don't care who it is. When the next brother comes in, the real... Because right now, you can look at Zuma and you can be like, one of the best centre-backs in the league, cool. He's winning all his aerial duels, cool. I'm going to judge Zuma when Silva's gone. When I'm going to judge Zuma, when Silva's gone. When Silva's gone, that's when I'm going to judge Zuma. Because that's when I'm going to know, player development-wise, have you developed? Have you become this new leader? Have you become this guy that can lead the defense? Have you become this guy that can now marshal our defense? That's when I'm going to judge Zuma. So for me, a lot of players could do things great next to Silva. And credit to Zuma, he's been brilliant. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he hasn't been. He's been brilliant. I've done a post for him recently on Twitter. I've been hyping him up. But I'm going when we're going to speak about Zuma, for me, is when Zuma's playing as the leading centre back in this team. That's when I'm going to be like, okay, cool. What are you on? So for would you take Ramos? For me, it's not me, it's to Rants. Would you take Ramos? Because
absolutely, I'd take Ramos because Lindelof needs someone, a real leader next to him, bro. You know what I mean? But I'm saying, I think he's a decent centre half. I've been extra harsh on him for the simple fact that I've had to be harsh on him because he seems to be starting every game. You know what I'm saying? Like, Oli likes him. Jose was rotating between him and Bailly and whatever, but the facts are, in a different team, he'd look decent. The reason why he doesn't look good, is because these guys are still young, but also he's not the aggressive leader type of centre-back, bro. He's the ball-playing centre-back that's meant to complement a dominant centre-back. He's not dominant centre-back. He needs one next to him. Maguire's not dominant. Do you know what I mean? These men are trying to turn Maguire into John Terry or into like a Terry Butcher, head-wrapped, bleeding centre-back. That's not what Harry Maguire's like. Harry Maguire wants to be the nice on the eye, ball-playing centre-back, but he's a clumsy oaf, bruv. Bruv, when you look at him, bro, it's honestly, it's like Lurch from the Addams Family playing centre-back. That's what Harry Maguire is, bro. Like, man's nickname is Slabhead, bro. Like, that tells you all you need to know.
For me, I've always just said he's just not a smart fridge because people call him a fridge, but you can be a smart one. You know what I mean? You could be the one where the mineral water comes out. You know what I mean? There's storage and space and whatnot. You're elegant. You're looking all good. But for me, I've always said bottom of the drawer chalk ice. That's all it is. That's what it is.
There's no ice maker in that fridge.
And again, why is that? Because again, he's not. Yeah, I think you had a season where you had a very good defensive record, but you was playing very counter-attacky. And we've said this before about even Wan-Bissaka and about Maguire. You've signed defenders who are probably better in a low block because Wan-Bissaka's got the recovery pace, no problem there. But he's not. You're playing out from the back, right back. So it just makes more sense.
Defenders, blood. These men. They used to be an under attack. You know them ones. That's what it is, bro. Like,
Maguire was relegated, you know.
Bro, 4 times. Bro, we signed defenders that are used to defending for their lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maguire's a low block defender, head everything out.
And you know what? It's true because then when you play for a top club, you don't defend as much, but then the concentration comes in. You only have to make a couple saves as a goalkeeper. You only need to defend serious situations a couple times a game, like a Thiago Silva. But these men like Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, like you're saying, they're used to defending for their lives. Do you know what I mean?
And that's what it is. And what it does is it invites better teams on you because we play deeper naturally. Because they don't have the arrogance to play higher up the pitch because them men are used to being under attack. They don't have the mentality. That's why you sign attacking players if you want to play attacking football.
That's true.
He's a good defender. No, bruv. You need to think about what kind of football you want to play. And you sign them kind of players accordingly, bro. We've signed a lot of players with inferiority complexes that come from small teams, just because they're going to play for the badge, bro, because Ollie's got no pool. So now we have to fish, and we have to shop in flipping Neto's blood for players and we have to pay flipping Waitrose money for Neto food, blood. Because that's what we're doing, bro. Wan-Bissaka costs 50 M's. Fullback, could have got Hakimi for that.
What's going on in the chat? No. Listen, we're gonna get mods in here because this is the first chat where I'm seeing a madness. What's going on in here? Who's moving mad? Because I'll kick you out. We're not gonna do that around here. No one has a good thing to say about Mars. All the Algerian brothers are arrogant. All right, cool. So we're gonna have to have you. We're gonna have to put you in timeout, my G. Do you know what I mean? Because we're not gonna have any of that. Yeah, and we're gonna be having. The thing is, I had no problems on my stream. I had no problems on my stream this is probably the 4th stream now, but we're not gonna. Yeah, it's not gonna look.
Put on my thing, and it's one of them ones. I saw what he said, and I didn't have a problem with what he said, but I think that this Sarah girl must be like, I don't know. I think she's Algerian or something.
Exactly. And for me, I
know what he said. I know what he meant in it, and all them North African ballers play with mad arrogance, and that's what I love about it.
I for me, I don't know if it was how it was met.
I don't think he meant it offensively.
I don't know. That's why I've only put him in a timeout. I don't know. I don't know.
He's Moroccan. He's not Algerian, but he was comparing him to Mahrez, innit? He never said that he was Algerian. But for me, them North African ballers all play with an immense amount of arrogance. That's how they play football, bro. I've got about 3 of them in my team.
Yeah,
I've got Moroccans in my football team that I coach, and I love them because they do play with that arrogance, bro. The likes of the Taraps, the likes of the Ben Arthurs and these the Tunisians, these North African ballers play with immense arrogance, and you need to play with that level of arrogance to be a top level baller. And then you get ballers that play with that arrogance, but they're not good enough to play with that arrogance.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. There's just bare arguing. But anyway,
that's what he meant in it, and then they started beefing on some matches.
You man, I don't know what.
I just went back to the private chat, bro. I'm not in the comments like that. I'll be in and out of them, but I know what he meant, and she's taking it like he was firing shots or something, but he wasn't.
Yeah, do you know what it is? Yeah, there's just bare capital letters going on, man. Relax, everybody, please. There's bare block capitals going on, and it's all nuts. He's in a timeout, and when you come back in, let's see what you guys can all. Yeah, because I just timed him out because, like I said, I'm not trying. Thing is, this is a football chat, innit? This is for questions and for football talk. It's not for man them screaming, pussy-o and capital blocks and whatnot. So if there's beef, man will just time out the beef, and then when you come back, you see if you can settle your thing in a calm fashion. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I'm trying to have a football debate here. We're not trying to see all of this extra confetti in the chat. I'm not on it. We don't do confetti around here. If you want the drama, you can go somewhere else. Saka getting the senior team man of the match over Hudson-Odoi, Mickey Mouse man of the match levels. Listen, and again, I'm gonna go on to this about young players. Just be careful what you say, because Harry Kane was at Millwall. He was doing nothing, and now look at him. Do you know what I mean? And he was older than Hudson-Odoi. So don't mock it, because a player's trajectory of his team. A player trajectory of their career, can change very quickly. It only took one little Europa League injury to Adebayor, I believe, and Harry Kane's in the team, and suddenly he's a world beater now. He's the best striker in the world for me. So you don't know what's going to happen. So
I know to judge certain players, isn't it? The thing is, Harry Kane was doing the mills on loan and stuff. Do you know what I mean? And that's why, unless you got a good eye for talent. Like, be easy, innit?
Be very easy.
Players, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I see them kick a ball for when I saw Reece James, I saw 2 minutes of him, and I was like, he's gonna be the best right back in the Prem.
Yeah.
Because I just knew, blood. Because I saw man's physicality. I saw his flipping crossings mad. Do you know what I'm saying? I saw his recovery pace, and I was like, bro, this is modern football. In modern football, if you've got a bit of pace about you, and you can cross a ball, bruv, that's all you need, bruv. Kyle Walker's been the best right back in the league for how many years? And he's actually technically not amazing.
Yeah.
He's just decent. You know them, man. So when I looked at Reece James, I was like, he's got all the attributes, innit? Same reason why I never turned on Fred when my fan base turned on him. Because I looked at his basic fundamentals. I said, he's got 2 good feet. He always wants the ball. He's got a mad engine. Statistically, he covers more ground than any player in the Premier League, on a game-to-game basis. I was like, bro, he's got all the basic attributes, to be a hit at this club, bro. Sometimes you just have to skin it right down to the basic fundamentals of a player. Do you know what I mean? And there's some players, their fundamentals ain't great, but their numbers are all right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that only works in certain systems. And that's just how it is. So with Harry Kane, even when he was at Leicester or wherever he was, yeah, I'm looking at him and I'm like, bro, you could see there was a player in there. You know what I mean? Because of the kind of goals man was scoring. You know what I mean? It's not how many goals you score, it's the kind of goals you score for me. Because how many goals you score usually is down to your supply line.
Yeah, no, it is.
That's what it's down to, innit? Because look, Alan Shearer scored 260 goals for Newcastle, yeah, but Newcastle literally dedicated every match, yeah, to just getting the ball to him.
It's true.
Do you know what I'm saying?
And when you're seeing, and the thing is with Sterling again, in one of those seasons where he scored so many goals, how many goals? And this is obviously, look, you got to be there. Credit to him, he's learned the movements. How many times was the move intricately done on one side and Sterling's there on the other side to tap it into the back post? Do you know what I mean? And it's like, yes, you're there to finish the move off, but really the whole team deserves the credit for the move. But it's really only Sterling that will be in the headlines once again for bagging 2 goals. But you already know Kevin De Bruyne and David Silva's done a madness on the right-hand side. Little intricate 1-2 play. They've done this move 1,000 times in training. Then the ball gets played across by the opposite winger, and then Sterling's there at the back post to tap it in. And it's like, that is the plan. That is the plan. Sterling.
I don't give him credit for the goals that he scores, because I'm like, how many of them did you actually engineer yourself? How many of them could I actually say, yo, that's a brilliant finish, you know? Bruv, maybe 2 out of your last 50. You know the ones there. Like, I'm seeing Harry Kane score certain goals, and I'm thinking, brother, if a man that couldn't finish got on, that's not even a chance, you know? That might be half a chance if you're not a top striker. The goals that Sterling scoring, I expect any player to. I expect my centre half to score those back post tappings.
Yeah.
Bro, like, you're there, innit? Like,
the way Sheffield United move sometimes, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case from where they send their.
I would expect my goalkeeper to finish some of the chances he scores. Do you know what I mean? So with all due respect, I don't rate man like that. Some of the goals that Kane scores, it's like, it's not the goal. Bro, he's putting this ball into the side netting. Every time he finishes, Harry Kane's
his finishing is on point.
Like the way he whips the ball across his body and like he places the ball where he wants to put it. Like, it's not just the goals, it's how he's scoring them. You can see the quality in the player. Even if he scored 5 goals a season, playing for a crap team, the quality of these finishes, the quality of these finishes tell you that he's a top player, bro. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and that's just what it is, and that's why when you compare Lukaku to a Harry Kane, Lukaku might be like side by side with him in terms of how many goals they've scored. But when you look at their finishes, Harry Kane scores way more difficult goals. He's got a lot more of a variety to his goal scoring, and Harry Kane hits the corners of the goal, bruv. You know what I mean? It's different to just having a fucking powerful side foot, because you're 15 stone, blood. You know what I mean? It's completely. Bro, I literally see him hitting it straight at the keeper and it goes in just because of the sheer power of it.
Yeah, my guy. Yeah, Rant's got you, fam. Rant's got you. Like I said, it's not even a personal thing. Man just put you on a timeout because the chat was going mad. I saw Blair block capitals and man needed to, you know, the ones where you get sent out of the class and it's not even your fault sometimes, but you know, you just have to call. There's bare shouting in the class. There's a lot of shouting going on. And man just needed to bring the temperature down of the room and continue the lesson, innit? So you had to just stand outside for a second. Do you know what I mean? Let me see what's saying. So yeah, I've used that word with Ziyech before, and do you know what I mean? It's the arrogance, and that's what this Chelsea team needed. I think I said this on your stream. Ziyech has brought arrogance to this team, but it's not even his arrogance, it's the fact that he's making other players more confident with it. Like, I'm seeing Chilwell get the ball and just turn a man. I'm seeing Reece James do a couple things on the ball. He was doing them before, but I feel like he's instilled confidence into the rest of the team where it's like, yo, I'm gonna take the mix sometimes, so you can do it too. Do you know what I mean? If you've got the ability, come and do it with me. Let's really walk around these teams like gentlemen. And I think the perfect example of this is Grealish, because Barkley is a confidence player, and at Chelsea we haven't seen Barkley flourish too often consistently.
He's a confidence player. Grealish isn't.
Grealish is not exactly
arrogant player, bro. He's not a confidence player. When you got arrogance, it don't matter how well or badly you're playing, you still play the same way, blood.
Yeah, and Grealish has brought the best out of Barkley, because you see Barkley stepping up to Arsenal, man, in the last game, like as if it's nothing, and just going toe to toe with them, and that's because his confidence is sky high, and that's Grealish that's brought them out of him. So like we say with the centre backs, right, where Ramos and the Silva can bring the best out of your next centre back next to you and elevate the team. A man like Grealish and a man like Ziyech can elevate the runs around them because they're making these players more confident around them, and you're making these players try things that they wouldn't have tried, and the whole team for that instance is becoming more creative just from the fact that they're all more confident.
Grealish just looks like a good vibes guy, innit? And I think that's why I think Barkley's feeding off the vibes, innit?
Yeah, 100%.
100% an arrogance player. That's why I like him, bro. Like he struts around the pitch here with his fucking Alice band and his low socks. He just does what he wants, bro. You know what I mean? All the time. And he doesn't change the way he plays, no matter whether he's playing for Villa or England. He don't try, innit? And you know what? That's the difference between Bruno and Pogba as well. Bruno's an arrogance player and Pogba's a confidence player. I can see with Pogba sometimes, yeah, it's like he's not arrogant enough. Sometimes, yeah, like someone of his ability, he don't shoot enough. The reason why he doesn't shoot is because, like, bro, he'll pass it. He'll be like, oh, he's in a better position. Whereas Bruno will shoot when the shot's not on. Yeah. You know, Bruno will lose the ball 50 times and still try and lose it again because he's mad arrogant. You know that one. And the difference is between arrogance and confidence is that arrogance, you don't need something to be going right for you. You know that ones.
That's what I love. I do love that. I do love that.
Because arrogant players will die on that hill, bruv. They'll die on it. You know what subbed off yesterday at half time, blood. 60% pass completion, yeah. He put away like nearly 30 times in the first half. He got subbed off. He went out shooting, bruv. Imagine mad arrogant. Confident players will lose the ball a couple of times and say, you know what, I'm going to simplify my game now. You know, your first touch in the game, can rattle you. If the first touch of the game isn't a good one, you just want to receive the ball again, just so you can kind of get that nerves out of your system. Because if your first touch is bad, your first touch of the game, it can actually set up how the rest of the game goes. It can rattle you, bro.
It's true. Yeah? It's true. It's true. It's happened to a lot of our players in the past. I've seen it before. Where Barkley, when he was at Chelsea, and this is why, even though Chelsea fans are seeing Barkley do very well at the moment, I would still, for me personally, for him and for us, I would still sell him at the end of the season for the price that he's going to command after having a great season at Villa. Because I feel like I said before, he's very much a confidence player. For me, cool if you're a young guy and you're confident and you're a confidence player like a Hudson-Odoi, but I expect him to get confident. I expect him to start owning his shit when he gets to 25, 24, 23 even. But Barkley is very much a confidence player. I feel like he always will be. He's obviously coming off the back of that injury. Man's taking his time and now he's back to his best fitness-wise. But he's always going to be a confidence player. And I personally would just want more players that just believe in themselves, that they hold their own, do you know what I mean, in their team. And when they come into the Chelsea team and they're wearing the shirt, they know that they belong here. For me, Barkley doesn't always know that. So I would personally still sell Barkley because I know he's relying on another man half the time to instill that confidence in him. And obviously, I just think personally for him as well, he needs game time, trying to get back into that England team, and no better place than knock it down to a club with less expectations, where you can have a little bit more of a vibe. There's less pressure, and he's playing great. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, I've always said this. Just because a man is playing great at another club doesn't mean he's going to play great for your club. Do you know what I mean? I said this with
pressure, all these other things you have to take into consideration as well, bro.
Of course. So, like, there's so many instances. Morata is doing quite well now. I wouldn't take him back at Chelsea because his brother wasn't made for this. He wasn't made for this team. He was not made for this team one bit. Someone asked earlier, and I didn't get to respond because we kind of just held off. But what's your predictions for Man United right now, finishing and Chelsea finishing in the position in the season?
It depends on the manager. I'm not gonna lie.
It's just literally until Oli gets sacked.
If Oli's at United till the end of the season, they don't finish in the top 4 anywhere near it. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends on who happens. Like, you know what I mean? Football's a mad thing. A couple games, he could get sacked, and then all of a sudden it's like, yo, title challenge. You know, you just never know. You just never know, bro. What's this Jude Bellingham rumours or something someone was talking about?
Yes, so for me, and if you seen my video yesterday that I put up on my channel, I didn't mention it because my thing is, and I want to continue this on my channel, if I don't think the rumour is got anything to it, any legs to it, I'm not going to personally talk about it. And the reason why I don't think this Jude Bellingham rumour has any legs to it is because it relies on Chelsea not getting Declan Rice, which I think is borderline nearly impossible at this point. This is one of the most foreseen, wrapped up transfers I've ever seen in my life. Like, for me, there's just like even if you don't want Declan Rice, so for me personally, I keep saying this, I don't want him because I think we have Ampadu. It's not because I think Declan Rice is a bad player.
Him and Mason are like best friends or something.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. But it's not because I think Declan's a bad player. I just keep saying, I keep honing this in. We have a man that we don't need to pay for called Ethan Ampadu at Sheffield United. He's a wavy player, and he's putting in man-of-the-match performances against Liverpool. He's playing out of his skin, and for me, I keep saying this.
What is Gilmour better than him though?
Huh? No, so you've got Gilmour and Ampadu. You see what I'm saying? So this
is better than him though.
So for me, I'd say Gilmour probably has more potential, but Ampadu and Gilmour for me are just great players in general, potentially, and I think both of them can stick it at this club because they both got the leadership qualities. Gilmour's definitely got leadership qualities on the ball. He takes the ball off a man. He looks to receive it. He takes it in any position. He commands it. He tells other players where to be. So he's very got that Jorginho vibe about him, but he's mobile. So he's probably more suited to this team than Jorginho in the long term, in playing as a lone DM, because he's actually going to be able to get about. And then you've got Ampadu, who been showing leadership from the get-go. Do you know what I mean? Come from Exeter at 15, played for Wales at 17, been showing leadership from the get-go defensively. And for me, those two players, if this is the thing with Chelsea, why go and spend, and it's going to happen anyway, so man's not going to complain about it too much, but why go and spend a 60, 70 bags on Declan Rice when you've got Ampadu and Gilmour for free chilling? And all you got to do is develop them. And you can develop them because as you've seen, and I keep saying this, you can't have too many youngsters in the same spot and expect them to compete. Lamptey left to Brighton because he can't compete with Reece James. You can't have two young players for their whole career compete in the same position. That's why Azpilicueta to Reece James works. That's why Tammy Abraham to Giroud works. That's why Ampadu and Gilmour to Kante works, because you've got a mixture of youth and experience. That's why Foden to David Silva works. That's why it works. That's why N'Golo to Martial works. Do you know what I mean? There's a reason why these things. There's a reason why Man United brought in Cavani, because he's not hampering the development and the future of a Greenwood. But I'm not saying it from a point where I don't want these players to have competition. You just have to have the right age. You have to have the right age. It's probably why Chelsea didn't buy Sancho and they got Ziyech, because Ziyech is 27 and he's not completely blocking the path of Hudson-Odoi. He's given competition. Hudson-Odoi can sit on the bench. Don't get it twisted. If Hudson-Odoi is not playing well, he can sit on the bench. But at the same time, he's not blocking him completely. And for me, Declan Rice, you can't have Declan Rice, Ampadu, and Gilmour. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but for me, it just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, because Declan Rice is young enough to say, yo, he's going to be our main number 6 for the next 5-6 years. So then them man just wouldn't make sense. If Rice comes in, then one of them two have to do something.
Yeah.
One of them two have to go on loan or something.
And for me, because right now, this discussion really mainly takes place if you're looking at getting rid of Kante. But for me right now, a lot of the fan base seem to be, all right, cool. If you can manage Kante's injuries, I'm cool to keep Kante because his market value's probably dropped off anyway. So you're not collecting mad money for him. So it's probably not even worth trying to secure the bag when it comes to Kante anymore. So if you're going to keep Kante for the longevity of his career and change him into a DM for the next 2-3 years, then how are you gonna use an Ampadu? So granted, Ampadu can change to a centre back, right? So Ampadu and Rice, maybe they can mix between centre back and DM. So that's one problem. So, but then you got Gilmour, and it's like, and then you got and then Chelsea fans will tell me you got Gallagher coming through, and you got this man coming through, and that man. So you're gonna have to sacrifice someone. That's what I'm saying, Chelsea fans. You don't have to agree with me on this Declan Rice topic. Like I said, he's gonna join anyway, and if he comes, I'm gonna back him and whatnot. But for me, it don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. But just know, if he's coming, and a lot of people are now saying he's brought in to be Thiago Silva's replacement at centre-back. It's been rumoured, but again, first team football at centre-back, how much has he got? He's played at a youth level, but it doesn't, for me, again, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, bro. I think he sees himself as that.
And I think he does see himself as that. He does.
Everyone has seen him play his best football there. Chelsea bringing him in and saying, yeah, we're going to send you back to centre-back. Yeah, I don't see that happening. You have to play him where he wants to play.
Yeah. I don't do this ITK thing, but I'm on good knowledge that he sees himself as a DM. And same way Mason sees himself as an 8. So in a 4-3-3, you're looking at Declan Rice. So for me, you probably should just stop the centre-back talk, because for me, he is coming to play DM. So if you're talking about DM, you're talking Declan Rice in the DM spot, and you're talking Mason Mount at LCM next to him, and then a Kai maybe on the right. That's what it's going to look like. He's not going to come and play centre-back. And the reason why I can almost guarantee you it's not going to happen is A, because Chelsea let him go in the youth system with him playing centre-back. So they already probably don't rate him that much as a centre-back. B, Chelsea are looking for a DM because Lampard wasn't too sure on Kante at DM. So it's not just me, by the way. Lampard's not 100% sure on it. And it's not because of it's not from a defensive standpoint. It's an on the ball standpoint. Because otherwise, he would have just started
off, bro.
Because he would have just started with 4-3-3 from the beginning of the season if that was the case. If this whole midfield makeup was so dead on secure and it was like, I'm happy with everything, no problems, everything's completely fine, he would have just started it from the beginning of the season because he finished lockdown with it. So why change it? And also, why bring in the man from Barcelona? Why bring in Sarr? Why bring in all these young centre backs? Why have Guehi out on loan in Swansea? Why have Tomori? Why have all these young centre backs if you're going to then play Declan Rice at young centre back as well? So for me, it's probably more likely that Ethan Ampadu is going to be the centre back, but we'll see what happens. But for me, it's a squad numbers thing. It doesn't make too much sense, but we'll see what happens with it. Final thoughts. Last 5-10 minutes. Man United, of course. Any transfer rumors for you, man? If you could put it like this, let me pose this question to you. If you could pick a player right now to come in and fix this team, or you know what? Because I know you would change the manager, so that's why I'm going to go with the player. Because if you could change the manager, you change him tomorrow. But if you could pick a player to come and sort out this team, who would you go with? Because obviously Ramos was suggested before.
Ramos isn't a bad shout. I think we need a centre back, a commanding centre back, because even the midfield don't worry me. I think that the lack of a real leader at centre back is what's giving us all our defensive problems. I don't think it's the midfield personnel because I think we've got the quality in there, bro. But you build from the back, innit? I don't think Harry Maguire inspires confidence in that back line. You know what I mean? If the fans don't really trust him, I don't think the players trust him. I'm going to be real, bro. He's got no pace, bro, whatsoever. Yeah. And he's come from Leicester. That he ain't even got no accolades like that. You know the man. It's not even like he's coming in a big experienced footballer, bro.
Yeah.
Like, he's got nothing behind him. At least with Thiago, when he comes in, the brother commands a certain level of respect. If you're a Man United player, there's nothing to respect about Harry Maguire. Man's got 4 relegations. And now you're coming to marshal my defense. Allow it. You know, if you're Luke Shaw that's been at Man United for 6 years, 1 trophies.
Yeah.
Why are you listening to Harry Maguire, bro?
Yeah.
Like, why?
For me, it's just the bare basics. You man are trying. Well, I think you want to play attacking football, right? You probably want to play a high line because that's how probably the most successful teams in Europe are running right now. Atletico Madrid and whatnot, they get far in the Champions League, but they get found out eventually just from stupid. Like they just get overpowered by attacking quality. You've got a defense which obviously you've replaced Luke Shaw now, but when he was starting, Man United fans seemed to be okay with it. And I'm like, he's probably too slow to play in a high line. Maguire's too slow to play in a high line. Wan-Bissaka's not the best on the ball playing out from the back. You don't have a defense. We spoke about this earlier. You don't have the defense that sets you up to play attacking football. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just that's really just the bare bones of it. And I think if Man United, I don't know, man. I feel like if Man United did get like a centre back that just could stabilize the team, you would be better off for it. Because I've always said like, yeah, an attack can do bits, but a defense does build the foundations to a strong team. Mandem is still talking about Declan Rice in the chat. Listen, Declan Rice, and look, a man that's got over 100 Premier League appearances at his age and wears the armband at West Ham when Noble's out. You know what I mean? You have to pay homage, 100%. And I'm not saying that he's not further developed than Ampadu and Gilmour because he is. Do you know what I mean? But my thing is I'm a romantic, isn't it? If I can see potential, I'd invest in it. Because personally, you man always harp on about a Kevin De Bruyne and a Mo Salah, and Chelsea didn't trust them, and then they went here and Retete and went somewhere else and did bits, Lamptey and whatnot, even though we didn't have control over that situation too much because of Reece James. As long as you man are prepared to feel that pain again, then go for it. But when I see potential, I run with it personally until they prove me otherwise. And Ampadu and Gilmour, I can see it. So that's why I can't make space for Rice right now, unless you can find a spot in the team where he doesn't block them completely and he still gives them a chance. Because all I want is these brothers to get a chance. If they get a chance, right, and they prove me otherwise, much like Jorginho and Kova, I said they should get a chance against Krasnodar, and they played absolutely dog poop. You never hear it from my mouth again that they should start together until they earn it back. If I get proved wrong, I'm not one of these guys on Twitter that really is like bare like, yeah, I have opinions, but I'm not gonna like run into the ground with them and not see other people's opinions and just like, be real stubborn about it when I can clearly see that the things got mashed up. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not gone the way I expected it to go. So if Ampadu gets his chance and he doesn't prove himself, we're Chelsea Football Club. We move. Do you know what I mean? But I just don't. I want him to get it. I feel like he should get his chance because I feel like he's going to have a great season at Sheffield United. I feel like Gilmour, he's just got to come back from injury. I feel like these guys deserve their chance. And like I said, you've seen Harry Kane. If he get his chance, and you never know what can happen. So it's just a flip of a coin. Final thoughts, Rants on Man United and Chelsea. What are you saying this weekend? Are you expecting a win?
Yeah, of course. It's West Brom. I don't know who they've beaten this season. I don't even know if they have won a game this season. If we don't beat West Brom, I think man should get sacked on the spot. Bro, West Brom are trash. Do you know what I mean?
Beggars can't be choosers, but man should have been sacked at the start of the break.
He should have, but you know what, bro? Honestly, this is a game that we should win quite comfortably. No matter what team we put out, it should be enough to beat West Brom. If it's not, serious questions need to be asked, mate.
For me, well, we've got Newcastle. We don't have the best record going on here. I think so. I think it is. Let me know in the chat if I'm wrong, but I'm sure it is away. Let me just check real quick, because I feel like there's a reason why I'm nervous, and it's because Chelsea usually, we are away. So the reason why I'm nervous is because Chelsea's record at Newcastle is a little dodgy. Now there's no fans, so that completely does change the dynamic a bit, but you still won't really get nerves out of me. But yeah, so I'm expecting a win, 100%. We got Tottenham the game after. Christmas period is coming thick and fast. The fixtures are going to be flowing in. Great for our channels. We're going to be speaking on bare football. You know what I mean? But I'm hoping that we can just wrap up business and keep it moving. So that's why I don't want to circle it back to the start of the show. I don't want to see Chilwell playing against Iceland, because if this brother gets injured, the whole layout of the back four changes, because you're either moving Aspilicueta over there, who's not as balanced, or you're playing Alonso or Emerson. And both of those guys, regardless of how good Emerson has been on international duty with Italy, both of them man are suspect. And for me, once you lose my trust as a senior player, it's very hard to get it back, because I'm not a man that usually regrets my opinion on a senior player at this football club. And when I said Rudiger was done, and man, them were telling me he's the best centre-back, he's come back from injury last season, he's going to fix up the defence. Frank Lampard's bringing him back into the team because he's the best centre-back, German international, all these caps, tear. I said to you, no way. And my opinion sometimes might be wrong on young players, because young players can do a madness sometimes. But when it comes to, or I'm not a scout, so even Ziyech and man them that are not at our club, I might get it wrong. But when it comes to players at my club, that are experienced, I feel like if they have shown, I'm talking about players I've completely written off, not players like Kante where I've said, he needs to be benched because he's not playing right now and he just needs a breather. Players that have out and out said, nah, done. Players like Kepa, players like Alonso, players like Rudiger, players that I know are actually hampering our football club from moving forward. I don't usually get them ones wrong. Do you know what I mean? I don't usually, because for me, I have a lot of patience in it. I give people sometimes a whole year. Like Kepa, I gave a whole year. If I see that you're consistently messing up my team, usually I'm very straight with it. And Rudiger, I said it from the get-go, this guy is not the guy. I've never changed on that. And do you know what I mean? You for me, when you have to bring back an Alonso or an Emerson or one of these men into the team, you just mess up the whole flow. The whole feng shui is ruined. So hopefully we don't have to do that. Rant, thank you so much for joining me, my guy. It's been a brilliant stream. Do you know what I mean? So obviously you're streaming the game later on today. What's the rest of your plans? What are you saying for the rest of the week? You got mad shows coming up. Tell the people what you're on.
Well, I'm going on to Twitch in a sec to continue my career mode on there. So I'm gonna be on there for like an hour. Then I'm back with a watch along tonight. I was meant to have a show with Akeem tonight, but he's had to go back into hospital.
Bless up Akeem.
To get his appendix. He had his appendix operated on, and he's had to go back for a second op today. So that show is going to be back next week. And then tomorrow, what day is tomorrow? Tomorrow's Thursday. I got a show with you tomorrow.
Of course, 100%.
1 o'clock as always, and then 2 o'clock back on Twitch, Pez stream. Then I got 7 o'clock. I got a new show with Flawless as well. United fan that we're doing at 7 o'clock every Thursday, and then at 8 o'clock I'm on Dapo's channel. So tomorrow, again, I got four streams tomorrow, and then Friday I got a new stream with Lee Gunner on my channel as well.
Busy bee, fam.
Every day man's working, and Saturday we got the game, so I'm doing all the game build up and the watch along and whatever. And we'll have a show after that as bruv. You know me, every day
Every day is on this thing. So like I said, man's gonna put the link in the chat. Subscribe to Rants. I'd be shocked if you're not subscribed already, but you know what I'm saying. Make sure you do so. If you can't click the link, then please go into the description. His channel link is there as well. Me personally, you know what's going on, people on this channel. We're gonna, do you know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie. International break, we missed a couple of days. Obviously, film with Chelsea, man, want to take that moment to celebrate with the family and whatnot, celebrate how far we've come. But now the football's back. For the festive period, we are gonna be on a daily thing. We missed a couple of days because I don't want to churn out things where nothing's really going on. I don't want to waffle on you, man. But now the games are back, there's really actually stuff to talk about. I'm gonna do I haven't chosen the guest yet, but I will have someone from the Chelsea community for post Newcastle. So after the game, I will do a stream maybe the day after or 2 days after to talk about the game. You guys have been suggesting a lot of guests, so we will keep that as a surprise. You know what I mean? Anybody can come on here. Do you know what I mean? So thanks so much for joining us. I think it's been a record for the amount of people in the live at one time. It's been like over 350 people at one point. So we're every stream is just going up. Do you know what I mean? So thank you so much for that. Do you know what I mean? Thank you so much for that. And I will see you tomorrow. For maybe a challenge. I might do a little bit of Chelsea challenge. There might be some games going on the channel. In a bit, people. Bless up.